Hey everyone, welcome back to this space. I wanted to follow on from last week's video about self-limiting beliefs and how I have started to notice that in the releasing of these self-limiting beliefs, I have been able to really, for the most part, so far, move out of fight or flight. This is a state that I thought I had stepped out of maybe a year ago, but that wasn't the case, and even now I'm not 100% there, and I think that is just the journey of life. But I wanted to share that when we do have these limiting self-belief, we can hinder ourselves from growing so much. And by growing, it doesn't have to be like, you don't have to think of it as this rigid, like, I must expand, I must grow, I must be more than what I am now. But growth is really being open to experiencing new, being open to experiencing things that you don't usually experience, being open to experiencing new learning opportunities. That is growth. And for me, living in the state of fight or flight for so long, in still very subtle ways that I thought I had been rid of, it has really given me this, I feel a bit teary. I still have dreams and aspirations, but I'm not fighting for them. I'm not in battle for them every single day, and I'm not putting those aims and goals and aspirations in battle with my present. One is not better than the other, and trusting that I, in due time, will be in those places. But it's also okay for me to be here right now as I am. For so long being in the mindset of needing to remove myself from a situation to live a healthier life, it subconsciously became my habit. Because that became my habit, because I have always been such a big dreamer, when I would see people just out walking their dog, looking and feeling very relaxed, I don't assume that I know what is going on in their life behind that, but to me that seemed like someone who's kind of like just where they are in the present moment, and they're enjoying that. And I would always think, do they not want to like be out and traveling and doing all of this stuff, fully projecting my own desires onto someone else, but also having that little bit of, I wish I was feeling like that relaxed in my life. I wish I could enjoy those little things like that. For many years, when I was going to therapy, when I first went to therapy, in fact, I told my therapist, I just feel like I'm like this all the time. And the word I used to describe it was uplifted, but it's the very like, it's a very different meaning to what the actual word uplifting means. But I mean, I felt like lifted off the ground, but not in a good way. And then eventually I realized that meant ungrounded. I don't feel grounded and settled and comfortable in my skin, where I'm at. And one thing that I said to my therapist is that I would love to just be at such a stage of comfort and safety that I can lie on a couch watching TV and fall asleep, because it was that level of fight or flight that I was in that I just couldn't relax, even in one of those situations where it's just like the most couch potato feeling, and I couldn't even relax then. And I remember last year at some point I had that experience, and it was a big thing for me. And that must sound so crazy to so many people, or maybe one of you or two of you or a bunch of you really understand that exact thing, or you have something that is similar to that. Now that same feeling has extended to other parts of my life, which is, okay, I can just sit in my flat and read my book and just be. I can just go for a walk with no real intention and just be. But if any of you have ever experienced what it's like to live in fight or flight, there is very little room in your mind to retain any information. And the past few years I think I've spoken about this in one of my previous videos, that I couldn't read. I could read, I know how to read, but nothing was ever processing. I would have to read the same page 50 times, and eventually I just stopped reading. I just kind of gave up on it. Whereas in the past few years, the more and more I have moved out of the fight or flight state, the more I have been able to actually enjoy these parts of life, and it is such a blessing. Yeah, I have just recently kind of come to the next shedding of fight or flight, and it's amazing how many doors open when you do this type of healing. And I'll possibly speak about this in next week's video, and it's regarding how things take time. Specifically, I think something that I want to touch on is manifesting, but I think what would be good to also add into this, very important, is your practices. What practices do you have that allow that internal healing to take place, even if it doesn't feel like it's taking place? And it's not something that you have to engage in 24 hours a day, but to spend an hour or two a day, or even just half an hour, 20 minutes a day of doing practices such as meditation, yoga, and breath work. For me, those practices have, the meditation practice has been consistent for almost 2 years, every day. Maybe I've missed a day, but it has been truly, deeply consistent. Breathwork is something that I started in February. Yeah, breathwork is something I started in February at the beginning, I believe. My yoga practice has been more consistent, 5 times a week for the past few weeks, and I've just noticed how it makes sense that I'm feeling like this right now. It is not a mystery. I have given myself time to dedicate to these practices that offer internal healing. Even if we don't understand how, the healing is still taking place. And so yeah, I just really want to shed light on, if you are doing these practices, don't stop. Just don't stop. You're not losing anything, you are only gaining. There is so much research done on how yoga, breathwork, and meditation can offer such deep internal healing with traumas, releasing traumas, like a physical practice, which is yoga, which is meditation for the mind and body. And these postures, they are sacred. They are specifically created to release tension in certain parts of the body, to release emotions and trauma in certain parts of the body, and also build strength physically, but also mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. It is a full scope healing that you can do, and you can do it from the comfort of your own home using YouTube videos. Same with breath work, same with meditation. You do not need to pay for any of these things. If you wish to learn further, then it is worth the money to get that guidance. But maybe if you just want to start your journey with these healing modalities, you can use YouTube. And then the moment that you decide that you want to dive deeper, there are people out there who are specialized in these practices that have the knowledge, the valuable knowledge that you can't put a price on, and is so worth paying those people for their time and their knowledge, and to give thanks in that way that they are choosing to bring this knowledge forward. That was a bit of a ramble on practices, but I just want you to know that things take time and it's really easy to give up when you don't see the results. But when you're not actually losing anything, and if you consider putting time in for these practices and you're losing time, you're not. Like, there is so much research that has been done also on meditation, how that maybe is not an instant reaction, an instant response in the same way that breath work and sometimes yoga can be as well. But with meditation, you are changing what is happening in your mind. You are changing your neural pathways when you sit down to meditate and take the time to release the pressure on yourself regarding the outside world and just give that time to you. Change is happening, even if you can't see it, even if you don't have a profound meditation experience. Change is happening. Guys, I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much for being here. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. It really helps to support me deeply, and drop a comment down below if you have any thoughts, and if you have any suggestions on videos and things you'd like me to talk about. I would love to hear from you. Peace, guys. I'll see you next week.